So good, so good. Speaking of solving a problem, in this climate, we have a lot of current business owners that are trying to keep their head above water. And then we have a whole other group that are jumping out and leaping into the deep to now embrace their entrepreneurial ventures. You give several keys in a recent article as pertains to how to navigate this space as a business owner. And one of the things you say is to conserve cash. Explain that and give us your reasoning behind that.
So I think the single most important thing for any person in this thing called a business right now is cash float, not cash flow. Those two things are different. Cash flow is the financial modeling around the inflows and outflows of cash in your business. Cash float is the amount of money in your bank account, right? So what I'm arguing with many entrepreneurs for right now is conserve cash. And that means bulk up your cash float. So if there's something you don't have to spend on right now, if there is a campaign you don't have to spend on right now, if there are costs, I've just gone on an incredibly aggressive cost-cutting program. Ridiculous. It's the single most aggressive thing I've ever done in my journey as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. But I've had to do it because it's about conserving cash. And you have to conserve cash because I want to put it to you this way. When the Titanic hits the iceberg, you and I have one of three options. You can either go to the top at the deck where the captain is and stand there with him as it sinks, which is, it'll be very heroic, but then you're dead. Or you can go to the hull where the hole is and you can try and plug the hole and there won't be enough buckets for that. Or you can get on a lifeboat and look for a different measure and look for some salvation. And I think this is a lifeboat scenario for many business people and many entrepreneurs. This is why you're seeing entrepreneurs downsizing, scaling down, cutting costs, because we're realizing that we've spent time building these incredible Titanics. We're headed down a very particular path, this thing we call a strategy. And we came up with a strategy and we were selling a product. We were going one direction. We hit this iceberg called coronavirus. And now it's about how many lifeboats do I have? What are the essentials that I need? And that's what I'm going to do.
On conserving cash, that leads me to another point you made in that article, and that is credit now, not later. So are you suggesting that we conserve our personal cash and use the bank's money?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Banks are funny creatures, right? Because banks give you the most amount of credit when you least need it. It's an interesting thing, but you are most credit worthy when you're the least credit risk. So, it's ironic, but actually the less credit you need is the most important word, not want. The less credit you need, the less credit the bank will give you, because at that instance, you are a lower credit risk. You don't need the credit. Your cash flow and you're asset heavy, right? And so one of the things I've done, and I'm advise entrepreneurs to do it, is right now, while you've got a great credit score and you can access credit, access it now. Don't wait until your financial situation deteriorates so much that by the time you go to the bank, you're on the back foot. Access that facility now, have it available now, so that you can tap into that facility if the situation deteriorates even further.